September 14th, 2001, we're at Johnson Hall in upstate New York. This is the estate of Sir William Johnson. He was the head of the Indian Affairs for the British government prior to the American Revolution. This is his home that he built in 1763, and he died about 1774, a year or so before the American Revolution. You can see the gun ports in the all stone part of the estate, and this is wood made over to look like brick, much as they did Mount Vernon. This is the Maine house. This is where he lived the last part of his life and entertained. And the style of architecture is such that everything on one side of the house is an image of what is on the other, including the fronts and the backs. Dual dining areas downstairs, bedrooms upstairs, an entertainment area upstairs, a full attic, and a stone basement with huge timbers and stones on the floor and the walls. On the other side of this house then is where he entertained the representatives of the Iroquois League, particularly the Mohawks. And at one time this estate encompassed well over 700,000 acres. But it was all lost in the American Revolution because the family became loyalists and that ran to Canada, and the house was confiscated and stuff in it sold at auction.
This is this is September 14th. We're in Bennington, Vermont. This is the old First Church. This is the fence in front of the graveyard at the church.
Here it says wife.
This is the grave of Robert Frost, the poet.
Born in 1791.
Oh, I didn't even have on.
Here's one that died maybe on Christmas, 1908, December 25th. Why aren't you doing some commentary?
This is a view from behind the church in the graveyard, and it's 6 o'clock in the evening. Beautiful fence. There's the front of the church. A real classic New England church. This is an inn across the street from the church, and it is the creepiest looking place you ever saw. There's one of the covered bridges outside of Bennington. We're hoping to find 2 other ones.
I don't know what we got. We're still at the Bennington Memorial. This is a statue to a militia colonel who was instrumental in defeating the British at the Battle of Bennington. And in the background you can still see the monument and perhaps the tops of the Green Mountains. We're in Bennington, Vermont. We're supposedly just a few yards behind us at an inn. Ethan Allen organized the Green Mountain Boys. This is the location of the Catamount Tavern, built in 1767. You can see a statue in the front, and that's what it says on it. It's a picture of a catamount, or a mountain lion. And then this is, I don't know if this is the tavern in itself, or if this is a private home. I suppose it's a private home, but supposedly this is where the Green Mountain Boys were formed by Ethan Allen in the American Revolution. He was eventually captured and spent most of the war in a POW camp. Catamounts. The word catamount was used by James Fenimore Cooper in books like Last of the Mohicans or The Leather Stocking Tales. That's what the main character, Nathaniel Bumpo, called them. This is Acadia National Park. We're on a self-guided tour, a loop road. We're overlooking Bar Harbor. That's a cruise ship that has come in. There'll be 2 or 3 more come in this week. Supposedly Champlain was the first European to discover this place. Out in the bay is a 4-masted schooner. I don't know if you can take rides on it or not. I'm looking into the sun, so I don't know if you're getting this or not.
It's too bright. Look in there. Close that. Look in there.
There's the cruise ship. See that woman taking a shower there in that 3rd porthole? So I zoomed in. I'm going to pan over to the schooner. There it is. Just sort of messing around, sailing around. Barb has her tripod out. I don't know what what she's looking at. You see a house down in there. Hope I'm not going too fast. And different ships in the bay, one type or another. And there's all kinds of buoys out there. We have no idea what they're for. Lighthouse. Hope I didn't make anybody ill. Before moving this thing around. I hope the sound of the truck engine doesn't drown out everything else. A few ships. Tugs or takes. You see some of the buoys. There's a ship over here someplace. There it is. Boat. We are at the only sand beach in Acadia. This is the result of glacial work in the weather. It's a place called Sand Beach. It's not a very big area. A few acres of sand. That's it. Water is cold. They say even on hot summer days they only get up to 50 degrees Fahrenheit. So there's nobody in. A couple of people sort of walking at the edge. You can't see here, but there are birch trees all over this place, and a lot of the trees are changing color. Here are some of the birch trees. Just a few. They're all over. Here's some of the rock formation along the beach. Some of the sights and sounds. Quite windy here, and it's chilly for shorts and short sleeve shirts. Been going on for millions of years. There's a guy actually wading in the water up to about his knees. This is called Thunder Hole. Crevice in the the rocks when the tide comes in, which it isn't now. It's a lot of noise. We're at Spindle Rock. That's what you're looking at. There's a buoy with a bell on it, located just on the other side, and that's an attempt to keep people from hitting it at high tide. Somebody that hit it was Champlain when he came in to investigate smoke that he saw from an Indian encampment. And he hit this thing and had to pull off and go someplace for repairs. In a straight line from that rock and that buoy, off in the distance is Nova Scotia. I'm going to pan around now and look back at Sand Beach. But since it's a long way, I'm going to turn this off and then come. There's Sand Beach again. And you can get a good view. If I can zoom in, of the lighthouse. I want that zooming away. There's the lighthouse out in the bay. The lightkeeper's residence. And when people talk about the rocky coast of Maine, this is what they're talking about. Here are some of the rocks right here that we're standing on. And it's this way all along through here.
These are lobster traps.
And there's Barb's head. There's more of the rocks.
That's why there's so many.
Barb's found out why there are so many buoys all through here. They're lobster traps. You may not be able to tell from here, but they're color coded. Some are yellow, some are red, different things. Light green. Those are all lobster traps. And each person puts out between 200 and 500 of them at a time. So that's what all this is. When they go out a long ways. All over the area. Looking pretty much straight down from where we were just a moment ago. See the ocean hitting the rocks down here, the moss-colored rocks. People along the route in easy chairs of one type or another, just sitting and taking in the view. Here's Barb in a national park, picking bittersweet.
It's everywhere.
All of this.
All of this.
Is there an echo in here? All of this is bittersweet. Barb is going nuts. This isn't part of the Atlantic. This is called Jordan Pond. Now, among other things, it's a source of water for somebody. It's a huge pond. Back up on the hill, there's a restaurant and a gift shop, and Walden House. You can eat outside and look down and see the pond. They have tables.
No, I think I'll wait.
You see a little bit of some of the trees changing, maybe. Here's the outside eating area. It's up on a little knoll overlooking the pond. You can see it's a pretty big facility. Hiking trails and things. We're at Fort Knox in Maine. This is a fort that was built over a long period of time to protect this area of Maine from British intrusion, mostly during the War of 1812 and thereafter. And then fears of England helping the South in the Civil War and getting control of the lumber industry around Bangor. And then they even had a scare in the Spanish-American War. This overlooks the Penobscot River. Control of this river would protect Maine. Much of it anyway. All of these are gun embrasures. We're out here, we're up on the upper level. We just climbed a spiral staircase. That's the parade ground down there. More gun embrasures. But I don't know how many guns were ever stationed here. There were never any shots fired, etc. Here's the Penobscot River, or part of it. Very wide. And evidently close enough to the sea that you have tides. You see the flag flying at half-mast. Here's one of the cannon on display. Brought up to the portal. We're down at the level of the parade ground now. Otter Magazine, officers' quarters. Didn't build places for the troops until long after they'd started work on this. We're Camden, Maine, on the Atlantic. We're down by the harbor. These are some of the ships, all different sizes. You can take cruises out of here. I don't know if they ever put the sails up or not. These pleasure craft. Can't make out what it says on the backs from Georgetown, but got a British flag on the back, whatever that signifies. It signifies money. It's somewhat like Providence or Provincetown, Massachusetts, or Mystic, with the commercialism, all kinds of shops or restaurants specialized supposedly in seafood. There's a huge ship over there. I don't know if that might just be a restaurant though. The red and the black and the number of masts coming out. Neat town though. We bought some things here, of course. Behind and to the left, and maybe you can hear, there's a waterfall that runs under a lot of the buildings. There's a stream from a lake that comes down. A lot of these buildings are up on stilts. And then there's a big falls back here. One of the shops we were in has a little porch on the back that overlooks the falls. You can see some of the mountains. Trees are starting to turn a little bit, but not so much around here. I have no idea what this place is like in the winter. I picked it up before. There's a guy over here in the rigging of one of these ships. There he is. The Grace Bailey. Well, maybe he's scraping the mast. Why are we doing that? There he is again, but you can see the mast. It's a two-masted ship. Boat out. It's a little lobster boat going out. A couple of people in kayaks. They went out earlier this morning, a lot earlier. Nice dinghy alongside of the Grace Bailey. A couple of them back there. There's another one down there. Let's figure it out. There are 3 guys working on that ship. Now, there's one clear up there messing around. Something in the bucket. There's one. Then down below him, there's a second. And over here is a third. I suppose if I keep looking, there's probably more. I didn't see the other 2 people. They're running their hands all over the mast. I don't know what they're doing. See those some of the different colors of ships in here. Blues and greens seem to be the main thing.
Some trees changing color over there.
Trees changing color over there. Can't tell. This is Bar Harbor. Or Bahaba, Maine. And there's little dinghies anchored, little motorboats anchored all over through here too, and I don't have any idea what that's all about, because they're away from the larger boats, but they're all through here. Up close and personal. All sorts of tourist sites. No cameras whatsoever showing. Still Mount Desert Island. We just visited Sand Beach today at high tide, was completely different, of course, than yesterday. We're down from there. We're going to visit Thunder Hole in a minute, get some idea of what it's like here at high tide, but this spot is away. hole in this crevice right here. That's a little bit away to get the full effect. You can see the way it's carving up on it. Walk away. And go out there on these rocks over here.
This is the Wendell Gilley Museum of Bird Carving. It has a lot of really nice bird carvings and illustrations. This is out at the front entrance of the museum. There's some nice plants along here. Looks nice. This is the front of the museum. There's a huge big pine tree here. Sagosa roses with the beautiful rose hips that are out in front of this museum. They grow very well up here.
One of the many lighthouses on the coast of Maine. All of them on a move now. I reckon U.S. officials can live on the grounds if they want. Only a few that we've seen with the sail.
We're at the Adirondack sale at Blue Lake Mountain, and there are tons of really cool things here to see. This bear is asleep right now, but he might wake up. These are all booths that are along the road. There are people parked everywhere. There's every kind of Adirondack thing for sale you can imagine. This is another booth across the street. Lots of skis. Lots of tons of snowshoes, antlers. Wonderful stuff. More creoles than I've ever seen before. There's another area. Lots of neat blankets. Looks like it's going to rain. It rained last night. Lots of things made with birch. Here's some of the goat wagons. Some furniture. This is one, I don't know if this is Blue Lake, but it's a lake that's right along the road here. There's some people out on the river, or on the lake. It's a little bit nippy. There's an island. There's a little cabin. This is a beautiful mirror. It's all handcrafted. They made birch bark lampshades, and there's a stuffed, probably mountain lion, I guess. There's a really nice wooden boat. There's one of those stores along here. This is an area for fishing and hiking and sailing. There's a beautiful brand new canoe. Another shot of the lake. This is a really nice piece. There's some major snowshoes. A lot of neat dog prints. Hopefully you can see the trees are changing here. Some places there's a lot of color. We're driving up towards the museum. Not real sure exactly where it is, but from the looks of all the cars, I'd say it's in the general area. We're in front of the Adirondack Museum. Took a while to find a parking spot. Lots of people here.
Now there's parking.
We're inside the museum waiting to get a ticket. I'm looking out the window onto the grounds where the sale's going on. This is at the back part of the museum, and these are the dealers. This is the more upscale part. This is a view from an overlook of the lake that I showed you earlier. That's an absolutely gorgeous view. Truly Adirondack country. There's that island with the cabin. The trees are changing and the flowers are beautiful. There's some of the flowers along the eating area here. This is all on the grounds of the Adirondack Museum. It's really a great place. Hopefully you can see some of the colors in the trees. There's the mountains in the background. Kind of cloudy up there. This is one of the booths at the museum. This is what it looks like all over. This is in the museum, and it displays of a lot of different canoes that were used in the area. All really good looking, well made.